Good morning, everybody. Thursday morning and post Christmas. I hope everybody survived. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's doing more than well. Your holidays were amazing. We're going to dive in some more and talk about insulin resistance. And, I kind of skirt around this a lot. I address it, but I don't. And I've been listening to some very interesting doctors who are starting to stand up and speak up about the fact that we've been lied to. So when I have people come on and say this or that about doctors, here's some truths. Your doctors are teaching you what they've been taught. What they've been taught comes from a food industry and a pharmacology industry that wants you sick. Because you being sick, you being hungry, creates more wealth for them. Okay. It doesn't create more health for you. It creates more wealth for them. So we're going to hit that head on this morning because look, when we talk about nutritionists and doctors, first of all, doctors typically get like one nutrition course throughout college. And here's a truth I want to ask you. A question I want to ask you about a truth I have, whatever. Look, we're not driving the same car we were 50 years ago. How many of you guys type a one in if you're driving the same model of car that was made 50 years ago? Or do you own something newer? Type a one in if you own a car that was made like with technology from 50 years ago only, or if you're driving a car that's newer with electronics and better gas economy and uh, navigation and all of that. Is it one or is it two? What are you guys driving? Something old or something new? Perfect. Most of y'all are driving a newer car, right? So when we look at that, if we're willing to buy a car that's newer because it works better, because science has given us something much better than what it was when it began, why are we going by knowledge with our health care, with our nutrition care that's 50 years old? Well, the food pyramid has been being overturned, right? But for years, our doctors were teaching us that if we went by the pyramid, if we did calories in, calories out, if we exercised more and ate less, we would be healthier. We would be metabolically healthier, and yet people continue to get sick. In fact, we've had more metabolic disease in the last 50 years than ever in our history. More deaths from metabolic disorders than other causes of death in our history as human beings. So why is that? If we're following this knowledge that's 50 years old, that's so amazing, like don't eat real fats, don't eat saturated fats because they're going to make you sick. Sugar's okay for you. It's the fat that keeps you sick. You got to count your calories and you got to exercise more. All of that stuff. And if you take this pill, it's going to make you better. All of that knowledge has been making us sicker. If all of that knowledge was so amazing for us, why are we now sicker metabolically than we've ever been? Look, in 2018, a study said that about, what was it, 83% of us at that point were 83, 88% of us were metabolically unhealthy. Now we have a system that says in 2023, a study came out that said almost 95% of us are metabolically unhealthy. So if we're following this old knowledge, why is it that our metabolic health is declining every year as a population? This is not as just North America. This is population wide that we're having more metabolic disorder. And yet we're being told to follow old knowledge. I don't know about you. I like classic cars, but I don't want to drive that thing every day. I don't want to crank. I don't want to have to do that, like no power steering, brakes are funky, gas mileage is low, don't have air conditioning. Like, I don't want to drive that car on a day to day basis. I remember those cars. I'm old enough. Um, I want to drive my new SUV with cameras in it, with all of that stuff. I want the safety things. I want that new technology. So let's stop thinking that following old knowledge is getting us anywhere with our health and our metabolism. So how is all this leaning into insulin resistance? First of all, I love to talk about insulin resistance. So if anybody here, um, oh, I got a warning that I'm giving misinformation. So I don't know how I gave misinformation. I'm repeating stuff that I've just listened to doctors talking about. But um, how does all of this lead to metabolic health and insulin resistance? If you want to know what insulin resistance is, then put a 1 in the comments and I will give you a simple breakdown. So, I'm just going to kind of free flow with this today. Carnivore diet all the way. So a number of doctors, I was listening to Dr. Ovadia, a heart surgeon, this morning. I've listened to Dr. Yao before as well, and Dr. Lee. Now, Dr. Yao wrote a book called Gene Eating, wrote a book about why calories don't count. Dr. Ovadia is out trying to talk about metabolic health and some of the lies that we're being told. That's why I'm talking about this. Um, my luck, I get banned for telling the truth. Only on TikTok do I get banned for speaking the truth, repeating what some well-known leaders in the field are saying, but whatever. So carnivore diet, you guys, what we need to understand is that not one diet works for everyone. And what I mean by diet is not like calorie restriction and food restriction. I'm talking about what we eat on a day-to-day, how we choose to eat the foods we eat. That's our diet. What does your diet look like? So a couple of things that I want people to understand, according to these physicians or these specialists in the field, are these. Genetically, we all have a different need. So the carnivore diet may work amazing for some people. The vegetarian diet may work amazing for some people. For most of us, it's unsustainable, it's unrealistic, and it's just not going to work because it's not something we can do long term. I'm here for what's sustainable and can be done long term. So, I mean, I'm going to be super honest. I try to be honest all the time anyway, but I've thought about the carnivore diet because I have some lingering health issues that I just need to take care of. So I've toyed with the thought of, well, maybe I should try the carnivore diet. It would make sense. I'm of Native American descent. We didn't have this whole variety of fruits and vegetables that y'all are eating today. Genetically, maybe carnivore would be better for me. Don't know. Not sure that I want to go there just yet. But more important to me is that things are sustainable. And we're going to talk about food choices in a little bit too. It's cracking me up. Whoever reported me for misinformation, I'm still hung up on that, you guys. Wow. Your mother-in-law just got diagnosed with type 2 and her blood sugar was 422. Yeah, get off the carbs. Get off the carbs. So let's talk about how to, number one, most type 2 diabetes comes directly from insulin resistance. So if her blood sugars are 422, she definitely has a blood sugar regulation problem. I'm going to tell you the system that I do helps with blood sugar regulation, and it's what got my blood sugars under control, my A1C under control, my blood pressure under control, reversed my diabetes. So let's go over it, okay? Number one, she needs to pay attention to those carbohydrates. I was never a big proponent of glucose monitors, but I am now. Because what I find is that as we go along this road of eat what's right for you, of not every diet is the best for everybody, you need to understand how foods are reacting in your body. Most of us are not self-aware enough to understand how a specific food is reacting. If you become self-aware and start paying attention, how do you feel after you eat certain things? Are you willing to do without some things to reintroduce them later to know how they are in your body reacting? That's golden for you, right? Because some things that you may want may be causing harm to your body, but you won't know until you get off of them for a while if they're causing the problem. But sugar is a problem for her. So let's talk about that. Refined sugars are not the only problem. When we talk about rice and bread and cakes and candies, yeah, those are problems. But what most people don't realize is that our food has been so modified from what it was in the past that even our fruits and vegetables are converting into blood sugar too quickly. So in some people, that vegetarian diet may work great. In some people, it may equate to too much sugar in their diet. So you've got to find what works right for you. But for her, she's got to get the sugars down. And look, I'm not a nutritionist and I'm not a doctor, so I can't really say she's got to. Okay, that was flaw on my part. What I would do is get the sugars in her diet down. I would increase the protein. Your metabolism works better. Your blood sugar regulation works better. Your muscles work better. Your heart, your lungs, your liver, all of that work better when you have enough protein. And most of us are not getting in enough protein. We're getting in plenty of sugar, but we're not getting in enough protein. So if it was me with that kind of blood sugar, I would do exactly what I did. My blood sugars were in the mid to high 200s, creeping up on 300. They're now 98 to 100 every morning. I do have a little bit of dawn phenomenon, but that's normal. So what I did was this tea that I drink in the morning. I do some intermittent fasting. I'm going to talk to you about how I put food on my plate. That makes a big difference in how my blood sugar spikes also over time. But the biggest thing for me, the tea I talk about all the time, and it's amazing. I love it, obviously. I drink it multiple times a day. It's helping with my satiety. It's helping me with energy. It's helping me with clarity, all of that. How does that tie into your metabolism? We'll get back to that. But for her blood sugars, one of the things that I did was this. It's a fiber matrix. It's a pre-meal drink that I drink before I eat anything. So 10 minutes before I eat anything, I drink this. Why? Because this matrix is 7 different soluble and insoluble fibers that are scientifically designed to reduce those blood sugars, to reduce your A1C, to reduce blood lipids. So when that goes in your gut, it starts to gel up. It makes this matrix a mesh with the insoluble fibers that creates a web. Then the soluble fibers create a gel that go in and they kind of plug up that web. Now you have this good protection from those sugars going directly into your intestines and through the intestinal wall and into your bloodstream. So that little packet of about 5 grams of fiber does more work than something else that's about 10 grams of fiber because of its specific matrix. So that is slowing down blood sugars in the body as it gets contributed. So instead of having this high spike, creating a high need for insulin, which we haven't even talked about yet, now those blood sugars are slowed down. She's going to feel fuller. I felt fuller and stay fuller longer, so less snacking. So get the blood sugars down. Make sure she's getting in fiber before she eats to slow down the blood sugar in her system. Even when you're eating things like peaches, pears, apples, there's a lot of sugar in those and way less fiber than there used to be. So we're having a problem. There's a reason we're more metabolically unhealthy than we've ever been. So blood sugar's down. I would definitely, and I'll show you where to get this. It costs about $5 a day. This is what saved my life. I had those blood sugars that were climbing. I had high blood pressure. I was losing feeling in my right arm. We now understand that, or suppose that was a indicator that my heart was getting ready to fail because of the long-term high blood pressure. My blood pressure is now like 112/74 every day. My blood sugars are normally regulated, and that's all I did. No medications, because I don't like medications. For me, in my train of thought, they cause more damage than they do good, and you can't fix a metabolic disorder with medication. You can mask the symptoms, but you're not going to fix the disorder with a medication. Wow, who put piss and vinegar in my tea this morning? Does that help? Flaxseed does work well, but I did that for years and I wasn't getting help from it, right? So I did flaxseed, I did chia seed pudding, I did berberine, I did black seed oil, I did all of these things for my health, and I wasn't getting healthier quick enough. My health was failing faster than it was getting better. When my health changed was by adding these 2 packets. So we're going to go over that right now. If you go to my link or go to my bio, tap on that, you'll see 2 red lights. Those red lights are going to indicate where the link in my bio is that takes you to my landing page. So go to that and you'll find where to order it. Now, if you need me to show you visually, I can stop and do that. That's fine. Love to do that, but you're going to get it right on my page. It just says right at the top, right at the top of the page, it will say the system I use to reverse my diabetes. And so you want to, I'm fat fingering things today because I just am on fire. Don't know why, but that's me today. Probably because somebody said I was giving misinformation. You guys, I try not to